A few years ago, God asked me to lead our children's ministry. Our children's minister had been there for 9 or 11 years. I can't remember. He was amazing. He built up a fabulous children's program. And we were on our way, literally, we were on our way back from Kings Island, and I was just kind of gazing out the window, and I've only heard a few times God speak, but I heard in my head, in my heart, God say, offer to do the children's ministry till they find somebody. And I was like, Ryan, you want to know what the Lord said? I think. And that's what I ended up doing. I did that for 18 months. And of the entire time, there was one moment that was the most poignant moment of my whole 18 months. And what we would do is when we would have communion each Sunday morning with the kids, we have our own kids zone area, and I would always have one child bring the communion over in the juice in the tray, and another child would bring the crackers over in a tray. And so it was always a big deal who got to do that. And so this one particular Sunday, there's a little boy named John, and he had the juice. Well, our kids zone is in our old sanctuary, so it has a little mini stage like this. And it has a step around the stage. And so I'm talking to the kids and kind of doing a little communion meditation. And they come around the corner, and John catches his toe on the corner of that step. It was like everything happened in slow motion, and the juice came up out of the cups and moved about 6 inches. And it just fell down. All in the tray, some of it back in cups it didn't start out in, and all over this little girl. And everybody froze, and John froze. And he dropped his head, and I said, I'm trying to get the girl, she was kind of upset, so we got her calmed down, and I said, John, do you want to sit down? He said, no. And so he came over, and he stood next to me with that tray, and he's like, silent little tears are going down his cheeks. I just felt awful, the kids are looking at him, and they're looking at me, and they're looking at him, and they're looking at me, and all of a sudden the Holy Spirit just took over. And I looked down at that tray, it was everywhere, and I said, John, I am so glad that this happened. I'm so glad that this happened. Because every Sunday, we put the juice in these neat little cups, and we put the cracker in this nice little bowl, and we have this nice service, but that's not what it was like. When Jesus gave his life for us, it was messy, and it was ugly. And I thought, sometimes we do the Lord a disservice when we try to make things so great, and this has been so great, you guys have worked so hard, but sometimes I feel like we'll go, especially as a non-Christian, we'll say, everything's so nice, you come into church, everybody looks nice, they talk nice, they sing pretty, they know what all they're supposed to do. I'm not there. I'm a mess. I need to get cleaned up before I come find Jesus. And I looked at that tray and I said, Jesus made the biggest mess to clean up the biggest mess. And he cleans it up, and every day I make a new one. And so thankful that every day he washes me back clean again. And the Christian walk, being a disciple of Jesus, it's messy. And it's unexpected. It calls us to things that we never thought we would be called to. I told somebody earlier, honest to goodness, I was a wallflower in high school. I was one of the shyest kids ever. I went to my 10-year class reunion, and some people didn't even know who I was. I went to 2 because I was at 2 high schools. I was so painfully shy. And when God said, teach this class, I was like, are you kidding? And then I could look back and I could see how he'd worked some things out in my life over time to get me to that place and to get me to this place. And it's so unexpected. And our talents that we think are so nothing, you have them for a reason. Just like Tabitha had her gift of sewing. You have your talents for a reason, so please make sure you ask somebody, what am I good at? Because that's what you're supposed to be using for the Lord.